Welcome back, Tribe. Have one here says Gen Z is ditching four-year colleges for trade schools. I'm going to assume that's mostly men.
More and more Gen Zers are saying no to four-year colleges and universities and saying yes to traditional trades like welding and plumbing. A new article in the Wall Street Journal explored the reasons behind Gen Z's move to become the quote
And it says how Gen Z is becoming the tool belt generation. More young workers are going into trades as disenchantment with the college track continues, and rising pay and new technologies shine up plumbing and electrical job. So of course, mostly men are doing this. When you have the toxic culture, super woke, anti-male narratives on college campuses, of course, men aren't going. It's already a 60-40 split in the favor of women. You can get accused of anything just by a woman's word on college campus and lose all your money and be expelled and your dreams down the drain. It's happened to plenty of men, and the ballooning of college tuition just doesn't make logical sense for men anymore. Unless you're going into a STEM field or something professional like becoming a lawyer, where you need to do extra schooling, makes no sense, man. Why not go into a trade? It's hard work to do plumbing. It's not easy being an electrician. A lot of times you're working outside. A lot of times it's hot as shit or cold as shit. You put in long hours, overtime. Your body will definitely take a beating, but you'll have your freedom financially. You'll have more job security. A four-year college degree doesn't mean shit today. Just a heavy paperweight that costs you basically your future. You're graduating with a mortgage on top of your back, and you still got to get a house somewhere to live and somehow start a family and support a wife and kids. That dream's dead when you go to college. If you didn't graduate from an elite school and have a job connection, some form of networking where you're just guaranteed out of the gates to get that 160K like some of these college kids are doing, going to elite finance jobs, for example, you're done for. That's your ass. You're going to graduate with a four-year degree, basically a shiny turd paper telling you, congratulations, kid, you got robbed for 4 years. We didn't teach you shit, and no job cares about what you learned because everything you learn has to be on the job site. Nothing you learned in school in the classroom even applies here. We just had to make sure you can dedicate 4 years to something. And by the way, you start $40,000, kid. Congratulations. And you better hope the economy is good and we're making a ton of money and our boss is buying his 8th yacht because your department is going to be the first one to go. Seniority, you just started here, kid. But I have to pay for college, and how do I start my yacht? Who gives a shit? Kid, you're the newest one here. Goodbye. They don't care about you. They pay you shitty wages, and they tell you to get a degree that's mostly worthless unless you're in the STEM fields. What a joke. Yes, trade school sounds 10 times better.
quote tool belt generation, how they could be the solution to the shortage.
And by the way, I have to pause it because there's some guys in the comments that the last video we did where I mentioned trades constantly say, well, in my city, in my town, well, my friend, and just some anecdotal shitty information about how they're not making any money or they didn't find a job or no trade schools offering this and that. When there's a million other men commenting, yeah, I'm making 100+ K a year. Everything's paid off. House is paid off. Got experience doing this. There's guys in the comments literally describing their experience, where they went to school, how many years they've been working. And it's like, there's another half of men that just it goes in one ear, out the other. They don't care to hear it because what they saw with their eyes was different. Bro, you might have to move to a new state. You may have to get out of the town you were raised in. You might have to take a risk and go into a field you might not have wanted to. Maybe you're good at math and electrician would be a good choice for you, but the job offers across the state. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Stop wishing for shit to happen and start making stuff happen in your life. No one's going to hold your hand with this shit. We're giving you the information. The men in the comment section, please comment in this video how you're doing in your trade job, because guys think it's absolutely impossible to make 6 figures in the trades now.
Of skilled workers in the United States. The author of that piece, Wall Street Journal reporter, T-Ping Chen, joins us now to talk about it. This is fascinating. And we've heard it's not new.
No, I feel like there have been
spikes when this has become a thing. But I'm curious, what is it about this particular point in time that has these young people looking more and more at vocational schools and trades? And which are the
jobs suck? And then entry-level positions. I'm going to summarize this video for you. Some entry-level positions are asking you for like 4, 5, 6 years experience. Bro, I just graduated college. I'm 100 G's in debt, maybe 50 if I'm lucky. I have no experience. That's the point of going to college. But you could have an unpaid internship then. Cool. That's cool. Like, we can have you as an intern, I guess. Unpaid if you want, like free work.
Jobs that you found are the most popular?
Yeah. So first of all, college is expensive. It's been getting more expensive. And for generations, we have had this idea of college for all. That has really been something that we've pushed on a lot of students to think that you've got to go to college, and if you don't, there's no real alternate path to success.
You're a failure.
At the same time, we are living in a really uncertain world with the rise of AI, with a tough job market out there for a lot of college grads. I'm seeing a lot of employers do things like drop their college education requirements as we face sort of a skills mismatch in this country. At the same time, we're seeing figures like, for example, there was a recent study out by Burning Glass Institute and Strada Education Foundation, which found actually that among college graduates, half of them are actually working in jobs where bachelor's degrees aren't even needed. And so, not surprisingly, all that is conspiring to create a feeling of skepticism. Do I need to go to four-year college to be successful? Do I want to take on that debt? Is it the only path? Are there alternate paths out there? And so if you look at some of the figures, at a macro level, we are talking about last year a 16% jump actually in enrollment in vocational focused community colleges. And that's the highest, if you look at overall enrollment, it's actually at the highest level since the National Student Clearinghouse started tracking this data in 2018.
Wow, that's
you
really...
asked.
Sorry, go ahead. No, this is also fascinating. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you asked about what programs are the most popular.
Mm-hmm.
If you break it down, you can see, for example, with construction trades, that's one area that has seen a pretty striking jump since in that time period since 2018 of around 23%. Likewise, vehicle maintenance and programs in HVAC, vehicle maintenance and repair and install and all that, it's gone up by 7%. So those are some of the more popular areas.
We're both children of immigrants, right? And I think a lot of people who are children of immigrants experience this thing where, your parents are like, you got to be a doctor, a lawyer, it's got to be this. Mm-hmm. And I remember arguing with my mom and saying, well, maybe I don't want to go to college. Maybe I want to try something different. And it just could not. Her mind could not accept that.
It was basically, you can, if you want to be a welder, you can do that after you go to college.
Right, basically. But I'm curious now if, the views are changing when people think about the trades, when they think about plumbing, welding, electrical jobs. What are the impressions that people have?
That's a really good question. So 100%, that stigma still exists, I would say. If you think about, we're living in a society where for generations, we have that sense that college is the optimal, right? And anything other than that is less than. Mm-hmm. And not surprisingly, that does show up still when we're talking about attitudes, even among, younger workers, Gen Z, et cetera. If you look at survey data, you can see that the strong majority of Gen Z would be interested in vocational schools offering paid on-the-job training, which is a lot of how you get into skilled trades. But at the same time, you see around 3/4 of them also saying that there is a stigma associated with going to trade school versus a four-year path. That said, I would say that stigma is changing when you speak to high school counselors across the country. They will tell you that for years, shop class, this idea of vocational education has been perceived as something for kids who are the troublemakers or the kids who aren't really academically on track, they can't hack it, et cetera. But there has also at the same time been rising, new technologies, whether it's in robotics or new machine tooling technologies that have come online that are in many cases helping change this impression of some of these skilled trades.
So Tipping, real quick before we go, this may be an unpopular sort of thought process, but it's also that there are a lot of colleges in this country and not all colleges are equal. That's something that Paul Fussell wrote about many, many years ago in a great book called Class, which is that we have thousands and thousands and thousands of universities now, so they may not be the choice for a lot of young people. This is a fascinating discussion.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the comments say on this one. Colleges decided they want so much money. I can see why VOTech schools are so popular. As a PhD in the sciences, I applaud this. Culturally and economically, it's time for the pendulum to swing back towards the middle. Gen Z saw how colleges, specifically predatory loans, have decimated the future of millennials. I'm glad many are starting to choose the trade route again. We certainly need better contractors. As somebody who owned a remodeling construction company, I could tell you the contractors made a killing. The work isn't easy. I was a contractor myself. I used to do stucco. Your boy was on the wall sweating his ass off before going to college and after coming back when I dropped out, building up my business in remodeling and construction. It's not easy, bro. 10, 12 hours out in the scorching heat on a wall that's probably white, reflecting everything back, changing shirts 5, 6 times, just soaking wet in sweat. Sometimes hands numb, completely dirty, covered in cement, stucco mixed everywhere, finish all over me. My shirt's crusty hard from, dust, water, sweat. But it gave me freedom. It gave me skills. It gave me valuable experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I don't care that some people were going to college and started getting some jobs in nice air-conditioned little units where they were working in their little cubicle on the computer just to make 40, 50, 60,000 a year. I was 27 years old when I cleared my first $100,000 in 1 month, not too long after starting my business. Was it hard work? Did I basically no life it in the beginning? Yes. I didn't do anything, didn't go out, had no friends. My weekends blended in with my weeks. I had no concept of days off. People don't see the struggle and the amount of work it took to get to that point. They only see the success. But when you go into the trade school, you learn these skills. You could start your own welding business. You can be your own contractor, your own boss. That's how I started. I learned, was taught by my father, who was in the construction business for 20 something years already. Taught me how to do stucco, Eastern European style. We started our own business, started advertising on Google, had our own website, would drive hours every day with flyers and pamphlets that I had printed and made myself online. Thousands of them, just driving my shitty beat up work truck full of buckets of cement and finish and whatever else materials I had back there, ladders and tools and all this shit, dude. Just going from neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood, just dropping off pamphlets and hoping. I have thousands of houses I would do in a week, thousands. And it cost me, I remember, $750 to print out like 1,000 of these pamphlets or so. And just on the first 1,000 that I deposited, a couple people called me back. One job alone was like $5,000. I made all that money back and then some. And got a referral from them. They loved our work so much. And boom, dude, this is how it starts. And now you're free. And the beautiful thing about it is what you put in is what you get out. The more effort, the harder you work, the more money, the more reward. It's not like a shitty job. You're on a salary. It doesn't matter if you show up hard that day or you don't show up at all and basically do anything. You're still making the same money. You're paid to drag your ass and not do anything. Actually working harder is against you because they'll see you're good and then they'll shoulder you with more responsibilities. Oh, Tim is so good at his job. Let's let him do this and then all of this because Tim can handle it, but they don't pay you more. Being your own business owner, if you don't do any work, you don't get paid. But if you bust your ass and sacrifice everything, you'll get it all. I've been an entrepreneur or self-employed or a business owner since 26, 27 years old. I think I'm 34 now. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Yeah, you give up security of that paycheck coming in every week, but that security comes with a cost. Your freedom. You want freedom or do you want security? You have to pick one in this world, boys. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We'll see you on the next one.